Well, today's video, today we are going to be talking about what happens when you actually start to love yourself. So this is a super fun topic to chat about today. And so if you guys are watching live with me this morning, please say hello. And then if you're watching on the replay, just hashtag replay and I'll make sure I come on later and say hi to you then. So today we are talking about what happens when you actually start to love yourself. But before we get into that, a couple little housekeeping things. If you guys are watching this on Facebook this morning, please head over to YouTube when this video is done, hit the subscribe button and the bell to receive notifications for each time that I come live, which is Monday to Friday around 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. On my YouTube channel, you will find all things revolving around my self-love at any size method that I've created that it personally takes you through my own transformation and all the things that I have used to find true self-love at whatever size that I am. And I did this through lots of things like mindset work, self-love, self-esteem, and self-care practices, body image work, mindful eating, mindful movement, building community, and finally mystic and holistic approaches. So you can expect to see things all about all those different topics on my YouTube channel. And so be sure to pop on over there and subscribe to my channel to make sure that you don't miss a thing. So after that, let's get into our topic, you guys. I'm going to make sure that I can see you guys up here. I'm going to bring at least one of my channels up. Perfect. Okay. So when you start to love yourself and actually love yourself and tune into that feeling, life actually changes a lot. And that's something that I have experienced firsthand on the impact that self-love has on how you are in this life. Like all the things that you show up for in life really depends on how much you love yourself first. And so what I'm going to be sharing with you guys this morning is 6 tips to really just tell you and share with you on the things that are going to change for you when you start to find that self-love piece. So the first thing that is going to happen when you actually start to love yourself is you're going to feel more in charge of your life. And who doesn't want that, right? Life can often feel like we're just going through life. We're not actually living it. It can feel that, we can base our life upon poor choices of and making those poor decisions in our life based upon either fear or guilt or shame. And what self-love is going to do for you and help you to feel more in charge of your life, it's going to help you to make empowered choices that are in line with who you are and what feels authentic for you. So you're all of a sudden not going to be living in that fear and shame and guilt all the time. You're going to be living from more of an empowered place of really being authentically you and showing up for life as who you are, not what someone else wants you to be, or not, being someone in fear of people finding out who you really are. So that's kind of one of the first things that I find that happens when you go on a self-love journey is you really feel more in charge of your life. And so if that is something that you feel like you need help with, you'll want to keep listening today. And so the second way that life changes when you're able to actually start to love yourself is you actually start to set boundaries. Boundaries are a super important part of living a healthy life, and oftentimes either people pleasers or people who just, they just really struggle with, telling people what they need for their needs to be met and what they need to happen in order to feel safe and secure and, appreciated and valued. There's boundaries that need to be set for people to kind of learn how you want to be treated. So if you have kind of poor boundary setting skills, then maybe you have been treated poorly in the past. Maybe you've been taken advantage of. There's all these things that happen when we are not able to set boundaries. So when you actually start to love yourself, you will notice yourself actually starting to set those boundaries around how you want to be treated and how you want to feel throughout your days. And then the third tip and the third thing that happens when you start to actually love yourself is that you stop seeking approval. Approval is, and I know it's a big one for me, of just always wanting to seek validation coming from others and seeking that people, valuing and really approving of what you do in your life. I know for a long time, I would only do certain jobs because that's what I kind of felt that I had to do. It wasn't necessary, and there was benefits to each of those things, and I grew and learned through those different careers. But when you start to really tune into your self-love, you actually stop seeking approval from others, which is really empowering to be able to make decisions based on what you want to do and what you want to put your energy forward to in your life, whether that be careers or relationships or projects or whatever it is, right? So another thing that happens when you start to find that self-love piece for yourself is to step out of comfort zones. And this is a super fun part and a super scary part of, finding self-love is you start to take maybe risks that you never used to take, or you maybe stepped out of comfort zones. So things that you may have not used to do because of that fear and shame and guilt that you carried with you through everything that you did. When you start to love yourself, you may start to notice yourself doing things that the old you would have never done. The person who hated themselves probably would never wear a bathing suit and go to the beach. A person who hated themselves would probably, never go on that ride in that amusement park, right? A person who hated themselves would probably never wear certain clothing in order to kind of be unique. They would probably only wear certain colors, darker colors, or colors that are baggy clothes that hid themselves. So there's all these things that start to shift and happen when you start to tune into that part of actually loving yourself. You start to step out of comfort zones and do things that are brave and authentic, and you show vulnerability and do all those things that you probably wouldn't have done if you didn't take the time to get to know yourself and get to love yourself for who you are. And then another thing that happens when we are learning to love ourselves, and that we really start to have a stronger relationship with ourselves. And for a long time, I know I did this as well, is I really would base my relationships, I would never focus on me. I would always focus on the other people around me, which I think, it's important to have positive relationships with the people around you. However, when you start to love yourself, you actually have that stronger relationship with yourself, and you're able to sit with yourself a little bit easier than you wouldn't be able to do before. So when I used to live in a place of self-hate, I had a really hard time sitting with myself. I wouldn't like to be alone. I wouldn't like to do things that were just for me. My life was really based upon being so busy that I would never have that moment to actually sit with myself because it felt so uncomfortable for me. So I don't know if that is something that you have experienced on really just the chronic busyness that really is kind of an underlying reason why people often become so busy, is that they often have a hard time sitting with themselves or being with themselves, right? So that is something that I really kind of dialed back on, is kind of becoming unbusy and really starting to be more with myself, which has helped me to learn who I am without seeking that validation from outside sources, without the pressure of society telling me what I should be. So all those things kind of start to change when you start to actually love yourself. And then the last thing that I have for you guys this morning is when you start to love yourself, you will stop seeking happiness in relationships or outcomes. And this is a super huge one for me as well. If you used to live, I know I used to live in the self-hate of that I would only be happy, and I was seeking happiness in a number on the scale. I was seeking happiness in a pant size, in a shirt size. And that's where my focus was, which I know everyone else has a different focus. For me, that was how I was going to be happy, is I was going to lose the weight, and which I did at one point. I was going to be a certain size. I was going to look a certain way. And that was my kind of key to unlocking happiness in my mind. And so I was seeking happiness in that kind of external physical form. And when I didn't find that, when I did all those things, I didn't get there, I was devastated and didn't know what to do. And so that's when I went on that inner journey of starting to heal myself from the inside out and it encompasses all the things that I'm helping women with now on really just embracing the love that you can have for yourself and how you can do those things through those 6 key areas in my self-love at any size method. And then I think another big thing that happens for a lot of people is they seek happiness in relationships. So often people will go through life only feeling happy or only think they can be happy when they have that relationship, when they have found that certain someone, and they rely all of their happiness on that person. And so if that person has a bad day, or if that person ends up not being the person for you, then you've lost all that happiness. And so seeking your happiness in the validation of being with someone else and putting all that pressure on that person to be the reason that you're happy really it's not a place to live from. We need to be living from a place that we seek happiness within ourselves. And when we love ourselves, we're going to have those awesome relationships. And those relationships are going to find us when the time is right. But we really need to seek that happiness within ourselves first. And then as we do that inner work for ourselves, then we're going to be able to see all these other things kind of all fall together, like the puzzle pieces all being connected as we as we learn to love ourselves. All those other pieces really connect. And so really I think this is such an important topic, and I believe that self-love is really the root of how we show up for so many things in our life. It's how we show up for our relationships. It's how we show up for whatever career path we choose. It's how we show up for our friendships. It's how we set boundaries. It's how we feel it's how we show up for our lives is really based upon how we love ourselves. And so I really can't stress the importance of taking that time to learn to love yourself. If you are sitting here feeling like you have more of the self-hate for yourself and you don't love yourself and you feel like you're living out of fear and guilt and shame, then I would encourage you to do a couple things today. I would encourage you first to join my free community. So I have a community called Imperfectly Perfect You. We are a group of women empowering each other to find self-love at any size through many different mystic and holistic approaches, and really just encompassing my self-love at any size method that I've created. And then if you are already in that community and you're looking for further ways to develop and expand the love for yourself, then I would encourage you to take a look at my Self-Love Revolution with Martina, which is 40% off right now, you guys. It is such a discounted program right now, and the benefit that you receive from this program is insane. This program is worth over $3,000 if you were to take all the pieces out of it that you receive. But it is a small price of $27 a month for a year, or there's some other payment options as well. So it's really a program that is going to help you to transform the way that you see yourself. It's going to help you to show up for life with confidence. It's going to be able to help you to love who you see in the mirror, regardless of your size. It's going to help you to transform the way that you eat, the way that you think of food, making peace with food through mindful eating approaches. There's just so many things that this program offers, really just being centered at the heart-centered piece of finding self-love at any size is what my wish for you is. So if you're finding yourself feeling self-hate or feeling just, overwhelming feelings of fear and guilt and shame in your life, and you're just looking for some kind of beacon of light to help you through your journey, I would love to be that person that stands beside you through your self-love journey in my program, the Self-Love Revolution with Martina. So please, a couple ways you can learn more about that program. You can first start by messaging me the word self-love, and that's going to just open up the conversation to be able to talk to you about what you need in your self-love journey and how I can help you with that. Or you can check in the description of this video. It takes you to the program page, which just helps you to learn a little bit more specifically about what the program offers. And once again, feel free to message me. I love having conversations about this stuff, clearly. And if that's something that you want to just have a conversation with without any pressure of having to sign up for anything, that is not who I am. But if you're looking for conversation and connection revolving around your self-love journey, I would love to help you with that. So you guys, I think that's all I had for you today. So I hope you guys have the best day. If you're not in my community, quickly before I go, you still have time to join my 12 Days of Body Positive Holidays. It is a 12-day kind of challenge where we are really focusing on being more body positive this holiday season. And you have a little checkbox card that you check off each day as you complete the little challenge within the group. And if you complete all 12 days of the challenge, you're going to be receiving a special gift from me at the end of the 12 days. So I would be so excited to be able to send you a gift. So let me know in the comments if you want to have access to that, or just join the group that's in the description of this video is how you will have access to the challenge. So you guys, that is all I had for you this morning. Thanks for everybody who tuned in and said hi. And if you want to connect with me further, you know where to find me on Facebook, on Instagram, YouTube, all the places. And so I hope you guys have the best day, and we will see you tomorrow for my video then.